Alright, hello everyone. I am the developer of Granvir, and I'm going to do a playthrough on the most recent update. Just this weekend, the demo version 0.80 came out and adds a whole bunch of cool stuff, so I'm going to delve into it and probably yap about the patch notes essentially until I die. I'm just going to breeze right through here, nothing new here. I like playing on hard. And I'm going to skip this carryover part since you didn't get to see my previous run, and we'll just start from scratch. So a lot of recent changes have gone into making melee more effective and giving you kind of some, through like a player's control over the campaign. So I'm going to try to focus on melee, but I do want to live and not die in the first two missions. So if I find some stuff that is important for me to survive, I'm not getting lucky on the melee loot, I will pivot. It is always harder to try and force a build, so we'll see what happens. So one of the new features is a new melee weapon type called Pile Bunkers, which you may have heard about in other mech games. The Pile Bunkers in Granvir are wrist mounted, so there are a few existing armatures that have new upgrade options, or you can just find them out in the field, and we can add a pile bunker to it. So one of the starting arms is one of those arms that can be upgraded. So we're going to try and decide which one we want to upgrade. Ideally the one with weak melee. But we don't exactly have the money to do it right now. So we're going to go take out a loan, which is good to do anyway, since it's the only way to build up market reputation, which is how you recruit the broker, which reduces the cost of visiting markets in the future, which is great for specifically ammo users, since they need to go to the munitions vendor all the time to buy ammo, especially on the higher difficulties. It's a real quick load of cool paint scheme. Alright, let's upgrade one of our arms here. Doesn't really matter which one. Alright, and now we've got a pretty strong melee weapon. The Pile Bunker, you'll see, uses a lot of heat to do a lot of damage. So it's a nice bursty weapon. As long as we stay in control of how many enemies we're fighting, it should be good. So to complement this melee-oriented playstyle, one of the best things you can do is get these tune-ups to stay ahead of the game. Because you just have a riskier playstyle where you're prone to taking a lot more damage, you don't want to fall behind the curve and get blasted out in the beginning and have to do a second run with really weak parts if you can't manage to replace all of them. So we're going to try and unlock this Groundbreaker tune-up. This is a melee-oriented tune-up option versus the regular mechanic tune-up, which is just kind of an all-arounder speed and heat capacity. Still not bad, and if we could do both, we would do both. If we had a good carryover melee weapon, we would probably unlock the Groundbreaker tune-up with two of these, do the Groundbreaker tune-up, and then go back and do the mechanic tune-up too. Now if you're playing on normal mode, you get an extra 3 hours, so that becomes an option too without having to do anything extra. But this is just a great way to get some strong early momentum. We're going to do extra melee damage and be a little bit more agile. So let's get right into it here. And you can see on the map, this is from a few updates ago, but there's a storm. It will slowly move across the map randomly each round. And get closer to the finale as you go. And since we're a melee build, I think it's usually a good idea to try and stay in the storm as much as you can. The storm will reduce visibility of your own and the enemies, but what that basically means is you have less of a gap to close before the enemies notice you. And let's put this pile bunker to use. Oh, I forgot my own rules. And I didn't leave myself any heat to use it. Well, that's a terrible start. I'm getting blasted away immediately. Best not to dash in when you're using the pile bunker. It does take 50 whole heat to fire, and your early dashes are super thirsty. Alright, let's be tactical about this. Okay, didn't take too much of a hit there. Alright, we're staying on top of it. going to turn the music on a little quiet after I manage to take this guy out. So as you can see, it's a really burst-oriented melee weapon, especially early when your heat levels are so low. You don't... Dang, took a hit. You don't have a lot of ability to dash and use the pile bunker. So you do have to weather the storm and close the gap, but when you're in this rainy environment, it isn't nearly as far. And the nice thing about being nice and bursty is that I don't have to spend a lot of time killing things. Now, when you do the Groundbreaker tune-up, your double fist attack is actually quite effective, and it ends up knocking out a lot of enemies in one. So you've still got options beyond the pile bunker if you're just not into that weapon for melee-oriented gameplay, but I highly recommend it as a kind of starting option. And it's super versatile too, because it's also an arm. It's not like you have to carry around an entire melee weapon or an extra ranged weapon. Oh, that's nice. Let's grab that. So it leaves you with an extra slot for loot or whatever else you want. Alright, we're going to do this since we picked it up. Nice thing about armatures is that you can swap out the contents of your hand. Oh, that was bad. During a mission. But against two enemies there, the pile bunker can really kind of put you in a bad spot if you plan on using it, because you've got two enemies that you're going to have to be dodging attacks from. You won't be able to interrupt their aiming with melee damage. So having the ability to only fire one big melee weapon, melee attack, will deal with one enemy, but it could leave you in trouble when the second enemy is about to blast. And it's about minimizing damage. You won't take no damage, but we want to take the least amount possible. Try avoid losing these vitals up here on parts that we aren't going to replace. I've already filled up my inventory, so I'm just going to extract here. I'm playing on hard, so it's generally not a good idea to stick around for longer than you're welcome. Let's take the legs. We got a reactor, we got a torso. Although this gun is good, I did say I would try and focus on melee, so let's keep our promise. Open up our component crates. And we got some legs, not really a fan. Got a very short range melee weapon. We don't really need to do that since the pile bunker can kind of fill that role. Two torsos. Okay, we get to replace all of our core components, which is pretty nice, especially since our legs were the ones that lost a vital. Looks like these guys are identical, that's fine. And cool, just an all-around upgrade. We're going to end up looking a lot like the enemy Granvirs. That's fine. Cool. And, oh, almost forgot. I always forget to replace my reactor, which is not good. Very important upgrade to get. So that one is just the middle-of-the-road reactor. Just gives us some extra heat capacity without any extra cooling rate. Let's see. Cool. We've got 6 hours left to spend. And one of the new features you can see down here is the time of day. It will now progress as you do activities and travel between areas. So it's getting kind of late. And by the time we're done, it's going to be a 23 o'clock, also known as 11 p.m. And then we'll travel for a bit, and the time can kind of slowly shift. It'll happen more on normal, since you have just a more awkward amount of hours to pass between or in your rest area. But on hard, it's pretty easy to maintain the same time of day. If you're playing a melee-oriented run, I suggest trying to tilt it towards night, because nighttime has shorter visibility ranges, and then trying to stay in nighttime so you don't rely on the storm to keep short visibility ranges. All right, let's see what we can do with these last 6 hours. I'm really happy with the parts we have right now. Let's definitely repay our loan. I think we're just going to make the full payment to get it out of the way, because I don't really have anything I want to do with all that money. Right now, at least. So let's make the full payment, get it all done. Don't have to remember to do it in the future. And we could just spam out some more Groundbreaker reputation. This is a really good one to do, especially on melee, because it unlocks this repair parts functionality. You could do it at the mechanic, but the Groundbreakers will repair your parts for credits only in no hours. So if you end up getting unlucky, getting busted up in melee, which just happens more often than unranged, having this Groundbreaker repair option is super useful. You can build Groundbreaker reputation by providing aid or doing the side objectives on missions, and it's only accessible in the forest and farmland, so it's important to take a peep at the map and see where that's accessible. I really like having a farmlands as the last area, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that lucky. So if we wanted to kind of maximize our use of the farmlands, it looks like we're only going to get 2 more visits to it before we'll actually get to take use of that the 0 time repairs. So I'm just going to I want to stay on top of my game here and make sure I'm busting up as many enemy mechs as I can every run, but having some money is important too. Alright, let's scrap our most expensive items that we found for 3 hours, and let's do a Groundbreaker tune-up to finish it off. So we've got some extra money, we're full health, so we don't need any of that scrap, and I'm just trying to build up enough money to afford the broker, which is 20k credits. Once we get there, that'll just make it easy to pop into shops without paying a visit cost and making sure our parts are nice and sturdy. Alright, going to a factory level. These are kind of dangerous early on, just because their threat level is so much higher than the other regions, but it does give you a 3-hour modify when you're done at the rest area, so it can be very time efficient. Alright, let's be careful here. This should be an easy takeout with the pile bunker. Awesome. Just gonna take that hit. Oh, did I manage to dodge that? I don't think I did. Alright, that's a lot of enemies. When you have a big crowd on you, it's very dangerous to just start moving around the level, because odds are you're just gonna attract more enemies. So I'm trying not to go running super far and finding a bunch more people to murder me. And just kind of keep these guys unable to fire back. Oh, that's a lot of ranged enemies. I'm getting pounded right now, and my heat levels are super high. Alright, that was one of the new features from last update. If you saw, the visual indicators on the artillery strikes are way better. Nice and elevated off the ground, so you'll be able to see them in the wheat fields, and a little audio cue to help you know they're coming. This guy's almost gone. This is the kind of cost you pay of having an extremely long reach melee weapon. It lets you kind of kite out a lot of other melee enemies super reliably, but you pay for that damage. But hopefully those new artillery strike indicators can help people dodge out the strikes that they want to dodge. The regular bombardment isn't too disastrous to take hits from. It does only 25 damage, so it's typically not what's doing that big damage and taking you out, but it is still a little scary. It's really the orbital bombardment that you have to watch out for. These are a lot of enemies over here. I'm paying the price of investigating this factory region. Alright, let's take one of these guys out with the pile bunker. And regular melee this guy. Oh no. Oh, he outplayed me. I got complacent just sitting there. Alright. Really would like to get a better melee weapon than this starter one, and I've taken a lot of damage already. Alright, let's get to the center of the map here and get these drop pods. Nothing I'm particularly interested in. Pile bunker, looks like I took one hit. Should be able to handle the second guy. Nice hits. Could probably be a bit more aggressive with this weapon than I was last time, just because that's good, maybe. Just because I've got that upgraded reactor, the starting reactor is super weak, basically. It looks like my arm took some damage. It's got a really slow attack speed now, which is making recovering from the pile bunker attack super punishing. in danger here. This will probably be my last loot stop, and I might take a really awkward path to get back, or to get out of this level, just because I'm scared of that, yeah. But, oh, there we go. That upgraded reactor is coming in clutch here in terms of being able to dodge and get a pile bunker attack out. Alright, let's take what we got. We got the extra loot because we got that hand slot. And let's try and get out of here without provoking any new enemies. Probably... Oh, there's that orbital strike I was talking about. Thanks to that audio cue, it's a little bit easier to know when they're coming. Sometimes I like to zoom out all the way in these situations when I know I'm just kind of traversing and need to be careful about those bombardments, so I can see if they're popping up at my feet. But I do like being all close up, personal with my build. Alright, let's take this guy out and hopefully score some extra credits here. Alright, it looks like I'm going to have plenty to afford the broker like I wanted. Let's see. Alright, looks like we're going to make it out. Oh, that was close. We're good though. Alright, 11 a.m. Let's see when our next mission times are going to be. Plus 12, so another 11 a.m., another 11 a.m. I believe the forest and the canyons have a bit longer travel time. So these are the ones that kind of risk offsetting your mission time. Not that you can really see it when they're... No, here we go. 14-hour travel time versus the factory and the farmlands with 12. And I believe the canyons are also 14-hour travel time. So traveling to those regions will kind of move your mission time back. Alright, let's see what we got here. Kind of a high threat level at 2 to be starting off with. Let's see what we got in our component crates. Alright, some nice arms. And a shoulder weapon. That could be pretty good for us. Especially with this torso having a shoulder mount. I think I'm going to have to say goodbye to the pile bunker for now. And hope we kind of find a different one in the future. Let's check the marketplace. Recruit the broker. And see what we've got in the component vendor. The component vendor sells arms, so they're the ones that are likely, if you want to buy a pile bunker, this is where you'll find it. Now the munitions vendor also always has just a few things. Ooh, here's a new melee weapon that was added with the update too. Maybe I'll buy this. It's a little bit behind tier, so I'm kind of apprehensive to do it. It is a tier 1, and I would be looking to be on tier 2 here. Let's see, where can I go next? Fight the ace. I should probably go to the ace since the loot level's higher there, and it's in the storm, which is great for my melee. I could visit the black market for more options, but I am kind of scared of the threat. But I do have the extra time thanks to being in the factory region and having the cheaper modify. We're definitely doing this, so let's go ahead and slap on this new torso, put on the gun we found, and I think that's it. I'd like to get new legs. Let's see what was in the component vendor. Not great. Kind of a step backwards in terms of where we are before. And this is one of the new features of this update, is a new shop menu that's better at kind of showing you more items and items with a lot more details about them. You know, you look at all these stats that could go halfway down the page. You don't have to do any scrolling anymore. It's all visible for you right off the bat. And you've got little tabs too to help navigate a super large inventory, which really only the black market is the one that has a lot of items in it, but you can inflate it by having more sell options. Alright, I'm not really interested in any of these legs here, especially because they're pretty low rarity, but that's kind of what you can expect from the shop. I'm thinking I want to buy some heavy ammo to go with our shoulder cannon. Alright, let's see. Let's put on these new arms. Should probably be reversed here. I believe the Grover is a bit better melee-oriented arm than the Grandine. Yeah, the Grandine has very low melee strength, which is just a multiplier of melee damage, versus the Grover's 90. So we're going to want to put our melee weapon in that hand. Alright. We got a pretty decent build here for how early we are. This torso, I believe, gives us some extra visibility range over standard torsos, so I'll take that. Alright, let's go to the munitions vendor and buy up some heavy ammo. Perfectly kind of rounds out our credits. That gives us a nice ranged option. This rifle is good. Rifles are great because they're super ammo efficient, but I did promise I'd do some melee combat, so I don't want to ditch this spear. And since we aren't using our offhand, let's adjust our grip and let's two-hand the spear. That'll just give us a pretty significant damage boost, which I think it definitely needs right now, considering it's a tier 1 weapon. Let's see. Alright, I mentioned our threat level earlier. We're going to lay low and get that nice and reset. And, oh, what's in the premium salvage? I should have checked this earlier. Just some kind of parts that are typically far below your current threat level. Or not threat level, loot level, but can still be pretty good, especially in the factory where your loot level is essentially elevated. So, nothing I'm interested in. These guys are always just kind of parts if you need a part, but they've got those same drawbacks of your starting parts. So you take these if you really need something to round out a build, or you lost something in the last mission, and these first two guys are your typically what you'll be looking at, since those could actually end up being useful. Alright, I'm not in love with any of that gear. Let's do a salvage on our old torso. Round us out to 3 hours. And not a lot of great options here. Let's do a tune-up. I'm thinking, oh, you know what? How are our leg vitals doing? Not great. Okay. We lost losing the ability to kick isn't that bad. So I'm actually willing to deal with that. We can use a scrap to get our hull back up. And I'll just take having a little bit less vital HP for a tune-up to stay on top of the game in the next mission. Alright. So we can go for the Ace, which has a much higher loot level than the farmland. So I'm going to do that. It guarantees us everything is above loot level 200, which is around where most tier 2 gear starts. The good breakpoints to keep in mind are loot level 100, which is, where most starts anyway. 200, where tier 1 starts appearing, and 400, which typically only happens towards the end. Now there is some variance in every piece of loot, so you don't have to worry about it being exact. It can go up to plus 50 when it rolls an item. So, but just to give you an idea of what the expectations for what you can find, that's around where they are. Alright, let's go to the Ace level. I'm not sure if I actually want to fight the Ace, but I do like the heightened loot level of being in the Ace's mission. So, let's double check my bindings here. Cool, I'm good with 3. I've got an empty torso module slot right now, so I'd love to find something to slot into there. This update added a new torso module called the gyroscopic stabilizer, and what that does is it essentially boosts your speed through improved stabilization of your legs, letting them work a little bit harder and push you to speeds that normally wouldn't be stable, is the lore reason. But it just gives you a top speed and an acceleration boost, which is always nice for pretty much any build. Melee can close the gap faster, ranged can just be a little bit more agile. Alright, I don't like dealing with more than one enemy in melee. So when I'm a hybrid build, what I like to do is pick off as many until there's just one that's super manageable with melee, and then with ammo efficiency, just take out the last one with melee, since there's not really any risk. Alright. Let's get this checkpoint taken out. This is going to give us some extra credits and resistance reputation, which is always nice for those little pop-ups you get before rest that let you choose a part. Those are all driven by your resistance reputation. So every 200 resistance reputation, you get 100 every round. They give you a selection. Alright. Gotta make sure I don't let this guy dash into range on me. Oh, nice. Got some pretty lucky hits on him. Extractions over there. And one of the new features you can see in this update is some nice extra icons made by Rogue Cache. He's been doing some nice work helping me improve the clarity of stuff by adding these little icons. So there's a new extraction icon, and you can look in the bottom right of the screen, and there's new icons for all of those little controls, so you don't have to look at my hideous reused screenshots of assets turned blue, essentially. But hopefully that can improve the readability for people and kind of help them find those features that they want to find, instead of just having very basic, highly reutilized assets everywhere. I don't think so. Alright, let's finish this guy off with ranged. I like to kill these guys with ranged a lot of the time just because they have that punching arm. But I've got the spear, so I don't really have anything to fear about that since I can attack from outside its range. You can see how I'm wandering up on a lot of enemies that don't seem to notice me. That's a feature from the last update, and it's happening because the enemies now have blind spots behind their torso. So, and a little bit on the front side too. There's essentially a reaction time similar to a human. You don't necessarily see or react to everything right away, and now the enemy doesn't do that either. So, you've got a little bit of a opportunity to start closing the gap before they notice you if you happen to approach them from the back. Now, because there's fog of war and everything like that, odds are that's what's going to happen. But I've got this extended, or you're not going to really have a lot of control over what angle you encounter them from. But because I've got this torso with extended visibility range, sometimes I can kind of peep them on the edge of my visibility and figure out how I want to approach before they even see me. Like that guy over there. Ah, dang it. It wasn't enough. Gotta be really careful and stop on the edge of that one. It's not that much extra visibility. Alright. Whoa. Oh, that's the ace. This is a bad time for me to be doing this. Alright, I need to get away from him and recover my heat before I get into a fight. And I don't like having all this unexplored area to my back. His guns do a lot of damage. Those are super high rarity weapons. And they've got damage to compensate for that. So I'm going to be very cheeky here. Alright, awesome. And not really give him a chance to fight back. Alright, he should have dropped something good. Ah, the torso. Oh, here's his backup. The ace gets provoked at threat level 3, and that is also when the hunter is aware of your position spawn. So, never expect to see the two of them very far apart. Thankfully I'm really glad I picked up the shoulder cam. It's definitely been a boon for this level here. Ah, take that. That's unfortunate. Didn't quite have the heat to dash backwards. It's a nice torso. It's got extra visibility range just like ours, but it doesn't have the potential for shoulder slots, which stinks. But it'll give us a lot of extra durability, and we'll see what we can do with our loot from this level. We did get a new melee weapon. I should probably just swap to it in the field here, especially because it's going to free up one of our arms. This is kind of a goofier looking one that I like, but it's of the spam-oriented melee weapons, where you can just kind of chain its normal attack together forever and chop people up as you spin the blade around. Which is a little silly, but I don't know. I think it's fun. Alright, I believe if I'm remembering this mission right, there is a fort right here. And we're doing great on ammo. Oh, jeez. This cannon I picked up must have had a ammo efficiency boost on it. Alright, let's get it reloaded and provoke the enemies in the fort. It's probably going to be 3 since the threat level is so high. I can't really afford to take any more fights where I'm going to spawn that last wave of enemies that just drops somewhere near you. Much deadlier than hunters since you don't really have any time to get away from them. Alright, that's good. I'm going to be able to loot everything without going up to a super high threat level. I've got a tier 2 shoulder cannon, which makes me sad. Ooh, that's a good find, I think. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Lots of conflicted feelings going on right now. Alright, let's stick to this torso. We need new legs. And I don't remember if I selected to go to an area with a component vendor. But we'll see what happens. Another feature of the ring is that it makes all bombardments less accurate. So if you notice, that orbital strike was nowhere near me. If it weren't in a rain map, it would be a lot tighter. But rain can help you out a lot with the higher visibility on ranged builds, because you're just going to have more cover in between you and enemies to duck behind to reload or reset the enemy's firing timer. Alright, where are we on the map? Weapons vendor, not great. And we're going to go to weapons vendor again and the manufactorium. That could be really good for us. So we could get some high tier gear out of that. Let's check out our component crates. Ooh, an arm. Oh, that's great. Okay, not bad. Duplicate on the reactor. Not what I love to see, but this isn't too bad. Alright, we're in factories again, so we get to modify for cheap. That probably works out really well for us. Let's put on the Ace's torso. This looks really funny on our chicken legs. And let's grab that guy over there. And then which one of these is in better shape? They're both about equal. And I'm just going to use it to shoot, so I'd actually like to use whatever's lighter. And it doesn't look like I gave a mass stat to arms. That's really funny. Or I'm just not showing the mass stat here. Why am I not doing that? Alright, notes for next update. Cool. Alright, that is pretty good that we got this dagger. This is just a great all-arounder. Pistol, takes one hand, pairs well with a melee weapon. Let's see what we can find. Oh, yep. Let's collect our ammo from the resistance. One of the new quality of life features is that now when you accept that resistance ammunition, instead of it just going straight into the depot, if it's ammo, it'll try to put it in your guns before it puts it away into the depot. So no more taking the resupply and forgetting that you got that ammo and going into the next level with no ammo, because since you were relying on that. The diversion is pretty good, but we might need to visit the black market and then lay low. What do we got here? This is great if we had a arm heavy enough to two-hand, or one-hand a rifle, but I do want to use melee, so we're going to ignore it. What do we got in the munitions vendor? Ooh, a pretty strong melee weapon. This is a whip sword, more or less, so it's got some extra reach, but I'm gonna stick with our spam thing, whatever you want to call it, the ring blade. Nothing fantastic in there. Alright, let's go to the black market and then lay low right after. Here's some new legs. And another nice thing about... Ooh, wait. Okay, here's what we want to do. Alright, how much money do we have? We might have to take on some debt, but that's okay. That's why it's there. Alright, so the Grelin is one of the arms that can be upgraded with a pile bunker. So I think we're going to pick up the Grelin and the Hulk legs. And, oh, I gotta update my reactor before I forget. Do not want to forget to do that. Okay. So, we're gonna grab the Grelin and the Hulk legs. The Hulk legs aren't super strong in terms of dashing, which is what we would definitely prefer, but they've got some good durability. And they're definitely better than what we've got. So let's pick up both of these guys. That puts us at 4 hours. If we want to lay low, we're not going to be able to upgrade our arm to utilize the pile bunker, which I'm a little worried about. But, you know, do it for the content. Let's see here. Let's go to the scrapyard. Ooh, what's in here? Okay. Alright, scrapyard. Scrap our most expensive junk. Doesn't really matter what I was picking. How are our legs doing still? Okay. Okay, we're going to be replacing that arm anyway with the Grelin. So let's do this. Let's get the pauldron over here. The Grelin onto this slot. Remove the ring blade. And go to the mechanic. Modify parts. Grelin. Alright, let's upgrade it. And now it's got the pile bunker attached. Awesome. Where did our medium ammo go? Get back in there. I don't know how that happened. Alright, let's repair our hull since the hull repair is significantly more efficient. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have waited until I swapped out the legs. Dang it. Alright, now we're nice and upright, looking more normal than we've ever looked before. Hopefully it's not too dark. One of the concerns about adding nighttime modes is this, essentially, right? If you're having issues with how dark it is, let me know, because you know, getting that levels balanced out is important. The game being dark shouldn't make it harder for you to see. It should feel dark because it's atmospherically dark, not because it's hard to see. But it's always a balance. Alright, we've got no time left, and we didn't have to take out a loan, which is cool. Always an efficiency loss in doing that. So we don't really have any options of where to go, and unfortunately we are outrunning the storm here. I believe it's like a 37% chance to move, which means that in the minimum number of missions you get to the finale, it's got a 50% chance of being there when you get there. Alright. I'm just so not used to these high quality visibility conditions anymore. It's kind of weirding me out. Alright, there we go. Let's pick these guys off with range. We do need to be very careful during this level. We're going to hit a high threat level very quickly. You can already see enemies bopping around over there. Not looking forward to that. Lots of reactors I don't really need. Getting your pile bunker timing down with the dash can be huge. That's so many enemies coming for me. Alright, let's start blasting here. I'm a little bit nervous about our ammo supply. So I'm going to try and cheese out as many of these guys with melee as I can. But it's going to be tough. We've got a tier 2 reactor now, instead of just that starter one, which is going to be huge for the uptime of our pile bunker. The cooling rate is not proportional to the total, so, you know, we have more heat capacity, but that doesn't mean we actually have more, you know, damage we can do over time, right? It lets us burst harder, the improved reactor with higher heat capacity, but we're still kind of gated in terms of how many times can we really use the pile bunker per second. I just want to play it extra safe on ammo here, since I'd really like to do the Manufactorium side objective. Oh, that stinks. Okay, let's see if I can just bait this guy out. I do need to be really careful for when that kill squad drops down on me. Alright, great. We didn't even survive the regular punch to get the pile bunker. There's no way I don't provoke the kill squad here. Just really hoping that I'll do it before I get to the Manufactorium objective, or I hope I do it. I do hope I do it before then, because those Manufactorium enemies are high in number. It's like we're getting pretty lucky here. It spawns. It is random in terms of what spider bots spawn, and it looks like we got lucky. And there's only one ranged enemy, so we take a lot of chip damage. All right, one of the mechanics of the Manufactorium are these little outposts here that we can bring scrap to repair. I always forget to bring scrap into the level. It does now say it in the objective description, but that doesn't change that I can't remember anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to knock out this resistance side objective, this groundbreaker side objective, by stepping on these little guys, liberating their villages, and there we go. That has a pretty high chance of giving us some scrap. Perfect. That we can use to repair those. But don't count on finding a lot in the level, especially if you have higher Groundbreaker reputation. That improves all the rewards you get from doing things for the Groundbreakers. And at a certain point, they'll stop giving you scrap because they want to give you parts. And hopefully that's what you want to get to. Alright, I'm just going to throw these in a random one. You don't really have control over where the enemies spawn, so I'm just going to bop it in. And that turret will help do some blasting if I get lucky and they spawn on that side, but who knows. Alright, ooh, a lance. Oh, that's awesome. The, let's see here. The Barbarian arm is a tier 1, or tier 2 arm that has a strength rating of 3, which means that it is, jeez, I don't like me, capable of one-handing a lot of two-handed weapons. So we're going to keep that around so we can one-hand a rifle. Alright, let's start this objective. Looks like we're going to have to deal with the threat level 5 drop while this is ongoing, which is going to stink, but we'll do our best. Alright, zoom out all the way to get a better perspective. And I've got most of my ammo that I started with, so I'm going to kind of blast indiscriminately. Unless it's 2 mortar enemies, and then I'm just going to pile bunker because I don't really fear taking too much damage while I close the gap. Alright, still holding at threat level 4. That's good. Here's the big squad. Let's take out these riflemen. Probably one of the most dangerous AI enemies right now. The pool of enemies will grow. Oh, there's that hit squad. And I'm really inconvenienced here with my current heat levels. Thankfully, there's so many of them, they're kind of clogging up the pathways. And it's buying me a lot of time. If I go too far away, these guys are going to start shooting the towers. And the more towers get destroyed, the weaker my reward is from the Manufactorium. So I still need to stay aggressive, but it looks like I'm going to be fine here. Alright, just this one enemy remaining. I'm going to let my heat cool down a little bit. Oh, or not. Let's finish him off with the pile bunker to save ammo. Oh. Or we can just miss terribly and take a bunch of damage that we didn't need to take. Alright. That was unfortunate for me. What do we get? That's not great. These are some legs. They're very interesting. They're jump-oriented legs instead of dash-oriented. You've got a stomp that will knock nearby enemies away and a jump that sends you really high. So you kind of have to rely on the jump to dodge ranged attacks and the stomp to deal with melee enemies instead of a regular dash. I don't know if they're really great, but it's just a attempt to doing something a little different. I don't think so, Mr. Orbital Strike. Ooh, another Grelin. We do have a tier 3 arm on the other side that's offering us a little bit of extra armor, but double pile bunkers would be really funny. Probably not great since the heat cost will be extreme. Oh, and this one's already got the pile bunker on it. Well, let's take it just to have it. And is it better, maybe, than our existing one? Let's find out. The Manufactorium is, under the hood, a factory rest area, so you can look forward to those reduced visitation costs. Okay, it's got powerful melee 2, but the other one has powerful melee 1 and quick attacks 3, so I'm not really gonna... I don't think I'm gonna make that swap, but I might put the Barbarian over here. Let's check and see if we can dig up a rifle. We've got another weapons vendor, but we're not getting lucky on the rifle. This is a really nice shoulder cannon. It's tier 2, so not super high above where we are, but I'm gonna have to pass it up. All right, let's go to the outskirts. We definitely need to clear. Our threat level's so high we didn't even get access to the black market. So, oh, that's nice. Okay, which one of these guys do we want? This one is a lot higher damage output. Just because of its modifiers, probably. Yeah. Oh, there's that gyroscopic stabilizer I was talking about. It looks like we can actually pick up both of these if we do a little bit of scrapping. So let's do that just so I can show it off, and then we'll buy some medium ammo to round out the build, or our supplies. All right, here we go. We've got the Barbarian on for that super high strength arm. We'll take that pistol off since we're going to replace it. Go to the scrapyard, and let's do some scrapping. Oh, you know what? I forgot in the last region, I should have sold a bunch of stuff at the black market. That would have set me way ahead on credits, but I got a little distracted, I guess. So we're going to scrap that. We're going to go back to the munitions vendor where we got lucky and had a lot of items that we like. Buy. Buy. And we're going to have to take out a loan to get those extra credits, but that's okay. That's why they're there. One hand to that rifle, put on the gyro stabilizer for extra speed, and leave this hand empty so we can pile bunker with it. There are certain arms that have abilities to attack while you have light melee weapons in your hand, like the knife or the pistols. You can actually use wrist-mounted cannons, but the pile bunker does not have that property. So you do have to keep the hand free. But I'm sure you'll find it's totally worth it. Alright, we've got 3 hours left. Let's go to the loans at the... Here we go. Let's see. There are different qualities of loans, but I'm not super concerned with it right now. We've got a rifle in one hand, so I'm not concerned about buying up tons of ammo. Because... rifles are super ammo efficient. It's kind of the cost you pay of expecting to need to use them with 2 hands. But when you can get to use them with 1 hand, right now, they're very powerful. Alright, let's go to the mechanic and let's repair up. I think we've kind of suffered a bit of damage. Oh, on our torso too. Let's see. Rotation speed isn't the end of the world, but if we do get hit with the second vital losing its rotation speed, that means we've got no rotation speed left and we won't be able to rotate at all. So let's do some part repair. Oh, we're going to need some extra money. I think we're just going to repair the torso, so let's do some scrapping to make a bit of extra cash. And let's repair up the torso. And that should put us at pretty high durability levels. Great. Alright. We can go to the Groundbreaker Hub, which is a big old battle. And that's going to get us some extra Groundbreaker reputation. It's got decent loot level, but there's not a lot of loot points at the Groundbreaker Hub. Or we could go to Light Industry. The loot level's a little bit lower, but... let's see, compared to where we are right now, 305, it's still a big bump. And it'll be in the storm too, which will be great for our melee proclivity. Alright, let's pass up the Groundbreaker Hub and the resistance ammo. It's a very risky mission. It's a lot to kill, and I'm not overflowing with ammo. Or mobility, frankly. Alright. Let's see what we can do here. The gyroscope is definitely, I'm feeling the speed. Now, we get another boost from being on road, which is nice, but let's take out these liberates here. for some good rewards. Our Groundbreaker rep should be pretty high up there at this point. Oh, you know what? I said forever ago I turned the music on. And this also lets me kind of show off one of the new features. Quality of life features is tabs in your settings menu and this effects volume slider. So if the gunshots are too loud, you can turn those down separately from adjusting the master volume and compensating on the music volume. There we go. Wish I would have remembered to do that at the beginning. Put it in post. Alright, silly mortar enemy with no front line. This is the last mistake you'll ever make. Goodbye. That. Oh, that's funny. Literally what we've got on right now. Hopefully we can sell that for a good price. Goodbye. Pile Bunker was a fun one to do. I don't think there's really a melee weapon that fit the archetype of a Pile Bunker, of a bursty melee weapon. And there's probably not a lot of ranged weapons that are like that too. So I'm interested to see kind of how it'll slot in a lot of people's builds, because it's filling a role that I don't think any other weapon was really filling. So when you play these hybrid ranged melee builds, a Pile Bunker is kind of exactly, or style weapon is exactly what you want, because you're not using heat for other things. So you can pretty freely invest those resources of heat into punching stuff, especially if you're killing it and your enemies have no chance. But as you can see, sometimes it's not enough to score the one-hit kill. So you do need to have a backup plan. But once you get a higher tier reactor, it's pretty easy to be ready to deal with those things, because you've just got so much spare heat. One little nuance of the Pile Bunker too is the Pile Bunker strike is actually a little bit longer than your melee strike. So as you can see just right there, I basically started the swing on the Pile Bunker and my melee wasn't in range in time, but the Pile Bunker was. Wow, this thing has a really high fire rate. So it can kind of let you eke out a bit of extra range if you get that timing down pat. Wow, this thing is a hose. I see why its damage output was so much higher. Not an exceptional jump on these legs. This is always a nice spot if you can find it. Lots of loot over here, probably more than there should be, but it's part of fun. But also a lot of enemies, so I usually end up getting this level and not being in a great state. So it's nice to be able to just kind of plow through everything over here. And once the area is clear, I'm going to browse through all 7 of these loot drops and take the best items that I can find. I'm a lot stronger than I would expect this build to be, honestly. These legs aren't ones that seem like they would synergize super well. But it looks like it's working out. Probably because I've been able to stay on top of my reactor selection. Sometimes, if that gets behind, you can get in a really tough spot, but I think we're doing okay. Those hunters are probably here for me. We've got a long cooldown on that Pile Bunker attack, so if you were really counting on that being there for you, it's best you don't miss. Cool. Let's see what we got here. Oh. No, thank you. Bad timing there. They usually give you a little bit of grace, and artillery strikes won't come down while you are doing the looting. But sometimes the timing just doesn't really work out great. Let's see, what does this guy got? 784 versus my Rhyme bar. 747 versus 768. Not really worth taking. I like all these components. I definitely am just kind of milling for legs, but that reactor is probably the best thing that I can get. Alright. I don't really like the credit situation either. So I think I might go for a little vacation, or not vacation, I don't know what you call it. We're gonna go on a trip and check out that checkpoint. We're not gonna go for that other one, I think that's too far away. Probably a bit of a waste of time since our escalation is going up constantly. So let's knock this side objective out. Actually, never mind, let's not. It's just gonna give us more loot and resistance reputation, and I don't think that's something we're in dire need of. It's gonna be tempting to blow all my ammo on these targets, but not consequential. Pile Bunker is great for taking out buildings. I would give it some extra building damage, but I don't think it needs it. I can't resist the temptation. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's nice, but there's no reactor, there's no, alright, let's see what they're called. Modifiers, like the higher fire rate, heavy armor. There's none of those on torsos at the moment, so, or not torsos, reactors. So you don't have to worry about comparing two reactors of the same name. They're pretty much going to be the same. Alright, let's get over to extraction. Indicated by this nice new icon that Road Cache did for us. And let's get out of here. Oh man. These are some good legs. Nice all-arounders. Tier 3. Good speed. Let's grab these guys. Wow. That is 4 reactors. That would be okay, but I am looking at a set of tier 3 legs, so I'm not really going to consider it. I'd probably switch to that, just for fun. Let's see what we can do here. Modify. What's he looking at? Alrighty. We've been, oh, I almost did it again. Replace the reactor. Cool. Even more room for pile bunkering now on that heat capacity. I like our ammo percent. We're doing well on ammo. We've honestly got a lot of hours right now. I'd love to take out the satellite array. It looks like the storm, odds are it's going to be gone by the time we get to the finale, which isn't great for us, but we'll make do. But that does tell me we need to go a little bit harder on our ranged options. So let's go to the marketplace, see what's around. Ooh, I like those legs, but I did just get the alchemist legs, so I'm not going to mess with it. This is a nice heavy arm for melee, but it does not have a pile bunker upgrade, so we are not going to use it. Munitions vendor. Ooh, there's some good stuff in here. This is an excellent item added in 070 to complement melee, and it's the tier 2 version of it. Basically, when your heat gets high, it'll vent a lot of it. But I don't see, we don't have a torso that supports it. And you got this crummy one sitting over here. What do we got in premium salvage? Oh man, alright. I think I'm just gonna pick that up and kind of try and find a torso that has a shoulder mount to make use of that, and let's just carry it with us. So let's go to the scrapyard with all these hours we have. Scrap some of these supernovas, since they are worth a lot. That's going to give us plenty of money to play with. Let's pick up the Berserker Plume. We're just going to hold it in our inventory. And let's keep scrapping just to buy a chunk of ammo. Probably didn't need to do that last one. Could have laid low. What do we got coming here? Weapons vendor. I need to be on the component vendor train. And I can do that. I can go to the satellite array, take out the satellite array, go to this light industry, and that should be good. Satellite array doesn't have a lot of loot on it though, so maybe I'll reconsider. Yeah, I'm gonna reconsider. Let's go into the storm and dodge the satellite array. It's gonna be a little bit more dangerous having to deal with those orbital strikes, but I think we're gonna be okay. Alright, munitions vendor. Let's just buy the medium ammo just to be safe. Once we burn through enough of it, we can combine it into one stack on mission. Let's see, scrapyard. And let's sell the rest of this scrap that we have just to get as high up on cash as we can, because I think I'm going to have to buy this torso that I'm looking for. Okay, so got 1 extra hour. I'm not really too bent up about it. Nothing I can do with it. So let's get out of here. Alright, loot we're looking for. We are looking for a torso with a shoulder mount that will enable us to use... Where are they going? I don't want to go anywhere near those melee enemies. My pile bunker has been getting a little flimsy on the grand scale. Those heavily armored enemies with the later tier parts are a little concerning for me. If I'm not able to one-shot them, the value of the pile bunker goes down a lot, as you can imagine. Dang, already threw 10% ammo just dealing with that. Alright. We will... Let's see. Reputation. Okay, good. We've got 800 groundbreaker reputation, which is the threshold for the 0 time repairs. So, we should be able to rely on doing that. That was a little shifty. This is the, our pile bunker is starting to come up short, so you need to keep that in mind, that it's not always just going to be a guaranteed one shot. You can see there, I got kind of that, that extra gap close time from his back being towards me. Man, I'm burning through this ammo. Okay. That hurt. These look like the hunters. The offset camera can cause some pain, I feel like, with a lot of close range melee combat. It's important to remember that you're looking a little bit to the left, so sometimes it throws off just like what you think is actually in front of you, where your torso is facing. But it's not that hard to compensate for, I would say. Oh man, just not what I'm looking for. Alright. I don't know. I thought I was getting bombarded, but I guess not. That's a pretty good pistol. I don't know if it's better than what I've got. No, certainly not. But think it just upgraded way too much. Pile Bunker still works if we soften them up, which is nice. Buildings don't get any stronger. So I'm just going to knock these guys out. And step on these guys so we can call the checkpoint destroyed and collect our credits from the resistance. There's that guy I punched earlier. Those ground breakers, when they take a little bit of damage, they'll go run away and hide and cry. Oh, this is probably that guy that was blasting me earlier. I'm surprised I lost him. Getting dangerously high on threat again. The amount of threat between... Ooh, that could be good. Between different levels is a little different. So that 5th threat level is further away than the others. Okay, the damage is down, but the ammo efficiency is up. And I think I'm pretty happy to make that trade-off. That's a good find. This is the tier 3 Pile Bunker arm. And I'm happy to have that. I'll be able to swap this guy out that's kind of been falling a little short on the damage. And I'm just so desperate for a torso with a shoulder mount right now. I'm going to sprint over to this guy. Probably wouldn't do this if I had any other legs. Stinks. Oh, that was bad timing by me. Oh. Don't like that. There's not a lot of tier 3 torsos. Oh, jeez. The prophecy. Alright. I've got pretty good cover here. I'm not too worried. That's some good damage. That's some good damage for them. Oh, I thought I finished off that, Oh, that won't be a problem. I'll just throw a few shots over there. I could go do that, thermal plant for some extra loot, but I'm not going to be a goblin. I do think, however, I'm going to go do whatever I find hidden on the other side of this checkpoint. Mainly because these legs are really fast. And I've already hit 5 threats, so it can't get any worse. This rain is really bailing me out with a lot of problems you have to deal with the artillery strikes. They're just less accurate, so I'm getting lucky, and a lot of them aren't really coming anywhere near threatening me. Okay, take the component crate. That could be a torso with shoulder mounts. Ooh, another berserker plume. They don't have any modifiers, so they're one and the same. So let's do one of these. Let's take 2, just in case we get a torso that has 2 slots. Because that would be cool. Alright. Decently beat up on hull and armor stats. So that groundbreaker repair might come in really clutch, but we'll see. Stick to the roads for that road speed bonus. It's usually worth it to cut through the grass anyway, but make it feel like I'm going fast. Alright. Let's see what we got. Dang, I was really hoping for a torso. And let's unpack these. That's a torso, but it's not one that we can get shoulder mounts on, and that's just an arm. Unfortunate. Let's go to the marketplace and component vendor. They've always got a torso, and it's one that is already upgraded, so it can't get shoulder mounts. Okay, that's disappointing. What do we got in the munitions vendor? Another torso, but not one that has shoulder mounts. This is one of the new axes that was added. It's a bit too late to be using this. I'd be looking for a tier 3 anyway. But two-handed melee weapon, and it's got two sides. You can flip this one around and use the blunt end. The blunt end has a bit of extra reach and does some extra damage to hull at the expense of speed. But very fun, big, chunky melee weapon to use. We also got our threat level too high to use the black market, which is a bit of a trade-off. Did I take out a loan? Oh, the part enhancer. Man, I want to use those so bad. Alright, let's modify. Let's put on our tier 3 pile bunker arm. Big chunky boy. And let's do some repairs, I think. Doesn't cost us any time, which is nice. So let's just get topped up on all of our equipped parts. And we could provide aid. It's got a pretty decent chance of giving us a part at this point, but I think we need ammo, and I'd like to lay low so I can maximize the next level and maybe not get the black market locked out from us at the start. Alright. Unfortunately, we're passing up on the part enhancer, but they usually offer modules. So we've already got a tier 3 gyro stabilizer, so it's not really something we're super in need of. So I'm going to just pass up the opportunity. Oh, it's kind of a weird order. Don't usually see the marketplace that low. Okay, scrap what we don't want. Let's sell it back to the munitions vendor for a bit of extra cash. And let's get out there. We'll get some free ammo at the end of this one, but this is our last level before the finale. So last chance to get a cool torso with some shoulder mounts. And looks like the storm is gone too, so we won't be able to get a stormy finale, which is always good for melee, but we've got some decent tools right now anyway, between this tier 3 pile bunker arm. Get out of here. Just wait for the flash. Don't dodge until you see the red of their targeting indicator. Alright. I feel like I get this canyons level all the time. I don't think he sees us. Awesome. Yeah, there we go. Even those up-armored enemies can't take the damage this higher tier pile bunker inflicts. Let's just throw this on, just for fun. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, it's on one. This is one of my favorite weapons. So I just want to give it some use. It's pretty rare, so when I find it, it's always fun to get a few throws in. And it's probably going to work out really well for us in this giant fight we seem to have picked. Nice. just a little rocket spear that you can throw and it'll always come back to you. Oh. A lot of the viability of late game ranged weapons comes in the form of versatility by having those ranged options. And the Comet is probably one of the strongest ranged options available for those melee ranged hybrid weapons. Well, those dreams of not, or being able to visit the black market are falling through the floor right now as I destroy yet another enemy. Alright. Let's give him the Pile Bunker. There we go. See if I can cram this guy in my inventory. I could drop this rifle entirely and go for a Comet plus Pile Bunker build. That's not too bad. I'm a little weak in terms of ways to handle ranged combat in that situation. That's a nice torso, but not one that has what we're looking for. Let's you know what? Let's commit. I don't need a weapon. There we go. I don't know if it's cheating to call this a melee weapon, but it's my build. Nice throw. I'm a little worried about this setup, but we are so close to the end. It's not going to be the worst. Our upgraded torso and its visibility range is definitely helping us out here, since this is a super long range weapon. We can kind of safely see our targets before we ever have to engage them, so we're getting some decent synergy out of this. But it looks like they've noticed us. Hey, how's it going? Don't mind me. I'm actually gonna throw the spear at that guy. Oh, that's not good. It's generally bad to miss. Oh man, he got that around. Oh wait. Oh, my heat. There I go. Losing track of the large heat costs associated with using the Pile Bunker. Throwing the spear has its own heat costs too, so... Oh, and it looks like the spear recall and the Pile Bunker attack are not compatible. To see about changing that. Which makes me a little bit more nervous for relying on this thing. I can't Pile Bunker while I'm waiting for it to come back, so maybe in a future update I will change how those two attacks interact. For now, that's probably going to mean I need to leave the spear behind. Oh, I don't like that. Alright, let's ditch this guy. I don't like that interaction. It's costing me a lot of damage. Sprinting is nice to get around, but it does build up those heat costs very quickly, and you want to have those going into a fight, especially as a melee-oriented build. There's usually stuff over here, so that's the only reason I'm taking my time to see what's going on. What do we got? What do we got? Just the drop pod. I won't be able to get over there. Maybe I will. Oh my gosh, they're just teasing me. That's awful. I've seen 4 of these incredible melee shoulder modules and not a single torso. Oh, alright. It's a tier 1 torso. But it can do what I want it to do. Alright, I'm not going to mess around too much over here. Because I don't want to get to threat level 5. So I'm not going to do that little event. Targeting computer. That's a nice little, it's a very niche module that lets you, it massively decreases the lock-on time for weapons that do lock on, which are things like all the ventral gun torsos and some of the shoulder-mounted missile pods. And that got added in 070. But it's a super niche thing, but as more lock-on weapons show up, hopefully it'll become more relevant. Can find a place in the loot list. The worst thing about these guys is that they're annoying. And now they're gone. Oh no. Legs. Not worth it. Alright. Let's keep moving. Escalation 23. Not too bad. Never really bothered with the enemy intel and reducing the escalation level, so makes sense. Higher escalation just means higher enemy spawn budget. Alright, we're almost out of here. This is a laser spear. We don't need that, but I will take... Oh, the cooling block. I like the extra speed, though. That lets us close the gap, so I'm not super obsessed with that. But 400 cooling rate is a lot. Let's take the upgraded legs. It's just got a few modules over what we've already got, so... Show me a torso. Oh, that's a fun little... arm that actually got a bit of a change in the last update. It now the long range punch that has on its cable fist, now you can toggle it with C instead of having to have an extra binding just to use it. Alright, this guy looks like he's going to be our new torso here. It's a bit of a downgrade, but I really want to throw those berserker plumes on. Alright, let's resupply. Give me the medium ammo. Then mechanic, modify parts, 3 hours, 10k, pleasure doing business, modify, let's throw that on, gonna look cool, there we go. Alright, and our new set of legs. We got to replace a bunch of our parts, so we should be in good condition and not in any need of repairs. Excellent. Oh, our big hand can't hold anything anymore. That's not great. Maybe we do kind of need the repairs. I'd like to just stock up on ammo, but we're already at 100%. Doing great on ammo. So maybe we won't. It's not usually great to do too much fighting in the final level. But let's see. Let's do a tune-up and just go into this last level as strong as we can. Okay, let's see. What's our build here? We've got tier 1 rifle held in one hand. Really, the fact that we're holding it in one hand is kind of offsetting the detriment of it being a tier 1 rifle. Got this big pile bunker. Tier 3 pile bunker does a lot of melee damage. 2 berserker plumes, so we've got excellent heat management situation and some good all-arounder chicken legs that's got a strong sprint and a decent dash. So, and this torso is just extra durable. We're really only using it for the 2 shoulder ports. But let's see what we can do with this. Arriving at noon. Alright, got the package. These Berserker Plumes also offer some passive heat, or passive cooling rate, I want to say. Which is nifty when you're not just, hitting that heat threshold that causes them to do their rapid cooling. Just a little bit of extra value for you. No reason to stop and do any looting here. This is the final mission. We're here to kill. There we go. We've got a bit of a posse coming for us. Let's take a short break from the running and abuse these guys all caught up. Oh, jeez. Or not. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. See ya. Alright. Now, we've got them all in a row, coming down the bridge. Cool. Taking a little bit of damage to our armor. Not too bad at this point. Getting to the center part is a big chunk of the finale. Alright. Let's start blasting this fort down. Looks like the orbital strike starts soon. Oh, that hurt. But we've got a really strong pile bunker, so I think we're going to be okay. Ooh, who's coming for us? That's a very weak enemy. Not something I need to worry about with this guy. Enemy can't just field all their strongest mechs. They've got some weaker ones too that they keep in the pool. Alright. Let's get this area cleared out. Once we plant the package, things are going to get a little crazy, so I like to make sure I'm in control by the time that goes down. I can definitely feel the tier 1-ness of our gun holding us back here. Had more momentum than my legs were able to deal with there. But it looks like our Berserker Plumes bailed us out a few minutes ago since they're on cooldown. That was risky. Ooh. This is a lot to deal with. I probably should have just planted the package and gone. But I don't like having too many enemies to deal with, since what happens after the package gets crazy. I did deal with an ace, which makes this part a little bit easier. But you just want to mitigate risk. Alright, let's get out of here. Not the greatest jumping legs, but it looks like we got away with it. Oh. Get out of here. That's a lot of enemies. I probably should have gone out the way I came, since I destroyed so many enemies in that direction. Our Berserker Plumes are ready to go, so I'm just going to let our heat go through and sprint out of here. Ouch. Alright. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. I want these Berserker Plumes to come off cooldown before we get into a fight. Plenty of ammo. We've still got the field centerer. And let's get repaired up. Repairing our hull is going to go just a little bit further for us than repairing our armor, because our hull bar is bigger and these repair a percentage. So we're going to start with that. All right, let's do this. Final boss. It's a little dark. There's some fun synergy, I guess you could say, between the Pile Bunker and the final boss's shield, where because it's a melee weapon, it will actually deactivate your shield and put on a longer cooldown. Ah, dang it. This is not looking good for me. I'm just not able to clear out these little guys fast enough. And since it's a two-phase attack where you've got the punch, sometimes... Oh, that hurts so bad. I can't see anything. Oh, man. Alright, well, that's the end for me. Decent run. I'm just not familiar enough fighting the boss with melee. Maybe? Nah, it was probably the tier 1 rifle. Made it a bit too hard to deal with the backup that spawns in the second wave. So, that's on me. But I hope you like this little look into the new stuff that got added in the Granvir demo, version 080. And if you want to play this, it is available on Steam, and I will continue updating it. If you've got any feedback, I'd love for you to post that on the Steam forum. And you can also join the Discord. There's a link right here in the game, and you'll get, we do the updates there, and then sometimes I respond to feedback and stuff like that. So, and if you want to talk to other people, share your builds, it's a great place to do that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.